Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shouldn't exist. Everything we have been led to believe for the past 20 years has told us this. It is an impossible video game. I'm benched from a slice of gaming and I have rolled credits on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at 90 hours. This video will contain spoilers. Up until Final Fantasy X, all Final Fantasy games had an open world, but as the scope of the games became larger and game development more difficult, that formula stopped. Nobody questioned this because it made sense. It's not possible to create the type of scale of an old school Final Fantasy game with the rising scale and cost of games. Then came Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and that excuse can be used no longer. First, I'd like to set the stage. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth opens with a bang. You are controlling Zack and everyone but a comatose Cloud and Aerith are dead. Immediately you find yourself filled with thoughts, but that section lasts a short 10 minutes and you don't hear from Zack again from over half the game. After this, you are put 5 years in the past with the Cloud narrating a flashback with him, Tifa, and Sephiroth. If you pay close attention, you can tell that Cloud seems different, almost as if he's a completely different person with his grammar and mannerisms. The flashback ends with Tifa near death and Cloud seeing Sephiroth walk away after slaughtering his hometown of Nibelheim, showing why Cloud and Tifa have such a strong resolve to fight Sephiroth. The game very intentionally starts here. It is a very linear section of the game, much like Remake, but that isn't what Rebirth is about. Rebirth is about freedom in a wide world full of life. After this flashback, you are thrust into Calm, the first of many towns in Rebirth. Rebirth needs to make a world worth fighting for, and nowhere else is that more prevalent than in its towns of Gaia. Calm is the first of one you visit, but each is the same. Bustling towns with so many people who are all going about their daily lives. The world truly feels alive. Soon after exploring Calm, you are forced to leave due to Shinra being hot on your tail. This is when Rebirth shows why it's different. You are thrust into the grasslands, a sprawling area, heartening the classic feel of Final Fantasy with its exploration. Rebirth has 7 zones, and all of them are unique and never disappoint. This is a seamless open world worth exploring and saving. Rebirth is a character-focused adventure. Much like Mass Effect 2, the overarching story does not progress a lot during this nearly 100-hour adventure. The main quest follows the party following the Black Robes, former soldiers with secular degradation who are connected to Sephiroth, much like Cloud. This lasts all the way until we get to the end of our goal, retrieve the Black Materia from the Temple of the Ancients. Rebirth takes a deep dive into all of its characters during the main quest and side quests. I'd like to touch on each character individually. Barret is the first to get a character arc in Rebirth, and it doesn't disappoint. You learn Barret is from the mining town of Corel. He heavily pushed for the town to accept Shinra's offer to put a Mako reactor as coal mining was bringing in less and less each year. Barret's lifelong friend Dyne is against the reactor, but eventually gives in due to the prospect of money. For a short period of time, Corel is happy with the reactor until disaster strikes. The reactor blows up, and Shinra immediately comes and slaughters the people of Corel to cover it up. Barret's wife is now dead, and Dyne is thought dead with Barret having lost his arm and it replaced with a gun for revenge. Barret then comes face to face with a thought dead to be Dyne. This is not the same Dyne from 4 years ago. Barret fights with Dyne and it ends up with Dyne being taken out by Shinra and his final words telling Barret to live with the grief. Barret's resolve now firmer than ever, the party presses on. Tifa has a traumatic past with Sephiroth who almost killed her 5 years ago. These memories are forced to reemerge when Cloud doesn't believe Tifa is who she says she is, forcing Tifa to reveal her scar to Cloud and Calm, at her immense embarrassment. This relationship is rocky throughout the whole game because Tifa knows Cloud wasn't at Nibelheim 5 years ago, yet somehow he knows what happened. Throughout the game, Tifa and Cloud try to test each other, which makes for a very uncomfortable situation. This all comes to a head when in Gingaga it becomes clear that Sephiroth has an influence over Cloud as he attacks Tifa and she falls into the live stream. There, Tifa learns about a past incident which caused her to distance herself from Cloud with false information, and Cloud did nothing but help her. This concludes in a touching moment between Cloud and Tifa, and the party once again carries on. Red 13 joined the party from Hojo's lab, presenting himself as an older, more wise individual. However, slight cracks begin to show throughout Rebirth, and in Cosmo Canyon you see his true self. Nanaki, who is 48 but in terms of his species age, might as well be a child. The game masterfully gives his true self another voice and how now Nanaki acts more childlike. Here you learn that Nanaki thinks that his dad is a coward who ran when his village needed him most. This is far from the case when we learn that the reason the village survived is because of his father, Seto, who proved his willpower to the Gi and was turned to stone. This leads to an emotional moment where Nanaki sees Seto turned to stone with countless arrows in his body, and Seto cries at seeing Nanaki, who is now a man. Yuffie is very light on character development in Rebirth, as expected because Wutai is a big focus for the third game, but the game does present her as a playful child who has immense passion and pride for her country, and that is shown when she comes across slain Wutai's shoulders at a Nebel reactor and blames herself. Cait Sith is a mysterious character as the party knows he works for Shinra, but we the player know he is Reeve from Shinra, who is an executive who doesn't believe what the company is doing is right. Cait is a great addition to the party with his comic relief, quick wit, and Irish accent, but when we needed him most, he stabs us in the back, handing over the keystone to Shinra. This mark makes the party scream at him and abandon him, but it doesn't stop him from coming back and sacrificing himself to save the party at the Temple of the Ancients. Don't worry, he's a robot, so he's already back. Cloud is our protagonist, yet our biggest question of the game is who is Cloud? Throughout the game, it's clear that Cloud has a shattered mind. Somehow Sephiroth has a great influence over Cloud, and Cloud has many memories and mannerisms of Zack. At several points, Sephiroth's influence takes over. Cloud attacks Tifa and gives the black materia to Sephiroth, but why? We do not know yet. Aerith is by far the most fleshed out character in Rebirth, and for good reason. Throughout the game, it's hinted that Aerith has had something taken away from her, and that's prevalent in her hollow white materia. Aerith is cheerful and witty almost the entire game until chapter 12. Something changes, maybe she remembered something or just had a gut feeling. It is shown in her phenomenal performance of No Promises to Keep at the Gold Saucer, where at the end of the performance she breaks down into tears. Zack is forever the optimist. He is in a world, yep, an FF7 multiverse, that has lost all hope of survival and everyone is awaiting their impending demise. Zack just can't understand this, and it is fully shown with his speech with Biggs, who has lost all hope. The party of Final Fantasy VII have to undergo trials at the Temple of the Ancients, each of which brings the character's arc full circle in a masterfully written way. They have to confront their past and live with it, but go towards an unwritten future. I've left out the ending of this game until now on purpose. There is a lot to discuss. Towards the end of the game, you see that this is a multiverse and the barrier between universes is very weak. You see Cloud, Zack, and Aerith all in different universes through the use of the Shinra mascot stamp. The game presents itself knowing that you know that Aerith dies at the hands of Sephiroth at the Forgotten Capital. The big shock is that Cloud parries Sephiroth's sword, saving Aerith's life. She gets to continue on the adventure with us, until tragedy strikes. You now see Aerith being impaled and dying in Cloud's arms. Two universes were formed here, one where she died and one where she didn't. The game's main universe is the one that she died in, and that cannot be changed. At this point, the rest of the party shows up and are in shock at the death of Aerith. But not Cloud, he is broken. But not in the way you think, he is under the impression that she is alive. The game immediately throws you into battle with Aerith's theme playing in the background, and all the party members automatically get a full limit break due to heightened emotion. Except Cloud. My personal interpretation is that Cloud is too far gone and he thinks she is still alive. You have an epic multi-stage boss battle across different universes against Sephiroth. It ends with him leaving, and now we tune back in right after the burial scene, which you'd expect would be here, but it isn't, because this ending takes place completely at Cloud's point of view. While the rest of the party is in complete mourning, Cloud is just ready to carry on and continue the adventure. Weird, right? Now in the final cutscene, it shows Cloud who has the hollow white materia and, mysteriously, the black materia. He can also see Aerith, but nobody else can. He can see the massive crack in the sky from the alternate universes. Is this him going crazy? Being in multiple universes at once, or something else? We don't know. He also mutters, "the reunion," showing Sephiroth isn't done with him yet. You get ready to take off on the tiny Bronco, but not before Barrett lets Cloud know everything is riding on this, who responds and leaves Barrett and Tifa, who hasn't talked in the entire ending due to grief, with a serious look of distrust towards Cloud. Cloud has a final conversation with this Aerith, telling her to get home safe, and her saying it's like a second home, which I interpret to meaning the planet. The tiny Bronco takes off, and the final line in the game is Aerith saying goodbye. This ending is an extremely well interpreted piece on grief and how it's a big struggle. And now we have to wait several years until the final installment of this trilogy. Now let's talk about side content. Rebirth takes a huge leap from Remake and becomes an open world game, and with this comes dozens of hours of side content. whether it be finding out lore of an area by visiting live streams or finding out cool facts about summons or side quests dedicated to a certain character. Nothing disappoints. Some personal highlights is in Junin when Barrett spills his parenting worries for Marlene, and the final piano song with Tifa and Nibelheim and the cats. And these are only 2 of the 30 plus side quests. And let's not forget Queen's Blood, a massive side quest chain with an incredible card game that ties into Genova and the Sutra struggle throughout the main quest. Rebirth has the best video game soundtrack of all time, and I don't say that lightly. It has a song for everything, whether it be a fun Merc song with Kyrie, or a song for a dog side quest and a battle theme of it, and the crazy addition of every zone having its own unique Chocobo theme. I really don't have much to say besides such an incredible soundtrack. Now for combat. Rebirth didn't need to improve its combat because it was already amazing. Yet it improved it in small areas and added a few new characters. A big gripe with Remake's combat was that Cloud and Tifa didn't have access to aerial combat. Cloud gains the Blade Beam, and with synergy abilities, Tifa can be thrown into the sky. You also have the additions of Red 13, Yuffie properly in the party, and Kate Sith, all who bring different styles of play to the table which keeps you engaged. I think the best way to describe the characters is like a fighting game. You have 7, not including Zack and Sephiroth, who just have their own movesets for the very limited amount of you play them. Each character also plays extremely differently, which is a massive feat. This truly is the best video game battle system of all time. Now to wrap things up, I have to reinstate that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shouldn't exist. Everything we've been told about AAA gaming has made us believe a Final Fantasy like this cannot be like this ever again. Yet they pulled it off and made what I believe to be the greatest video game of all time. Thank you for watching, and please look at our other content on this Slice of Gaming YouTube page and follow us on Twitter. Thank you.